Do you ever wonder if you've been marked? You survived the spectral sales event. You've seen the haunting results of life consumed by cheap thrills and impulse buys, courtesy of Wally Wimp and the Emporium. Now we move beyond the satire. Tonight we open the door to the true source of that mundane dread. This is the launchpad for a brand new series, Steel Shadows, Visions of Richard Matheson. Across 10 episodes, we will analyze how Matheson's iconic tales, from robot boxers and steel to the road rage paranoia of Duel, directly mirrored the shadows in his own life. We'll explore the real life trauma of a World War II veteran, the painful losses that informed his domestic horror, and the Hollywood frustrations that fueled his sharpest satire. The fear we confront tonight is more fundamental. It's the realization that you are merely expected to conform, expected to vanish into the relentless pattern of the ordinary. Prepare to venture into the mind of a master, prepare to see the world as Matheson did, where the uncanny twist is never far from the mundane truth. The curtain is up. The shadows are gathering. SL Tonight, Anthology, begins. And go.
Good evening, seekers of the eternal echo, and welcome to SL Tonight, where we leaf through the diary pages of Richard Matheson, the pioneer who penned 14 novels and 16 Twilight Zone episodes. I'm Danny, your guest host for Steel Shadows, Visions of Richard Matheson, a bonus episode celebrating the man whose stories lampoon his own career, pulp humor skewering human constancy, family legacies turning to timeless satire. In the 1950s, Matheson was in California writing for magazines like the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, inspired by his mother's old journals that made him ponder how human nature repeats across eras. Dear Diary grew from that insight, a tale of diary entries from women in different times, reflecting his aim to blend comedy with philosophical repetition. Published in 1953 in the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, it captures his skill at turning personal confession into universal truth, drawn from historical diaries and his father's immigrant tales of unchanging struggles. Behind the scenes, Matheson collaborated with Twilight Zone producers, but this story stayed in pulps, reflecting his frustration with Hollywood's limits on multi-era narratives. It's a window into what drew him to horror, the fear that history's loop traps us in the same follies, a theme that deepened with civil rights struggles in the 1960s. Let's turn the pages. Dear Diary, June 10th, 1954. Dear Diary, honest, sometimes I get so sick of this damn furnished room I could probably vomit. The window is so dirty, half the time on Saturday and Sunday mornings, I think it's going to rain even if the sun is shining. And such a view! Underwear yet, dripping on wash lines, girdles, overalls. If it isn't enough to make a girl wish she was dead. It all stinks. And that jabroni across the hall, he makes his life worse than it is. Where he gets his money for booze, who knows? Probably he robs old ladies. Drunk, sings all the time, makes lunges at me in that hallway that looks like a dungeon hall in an Errol Flynn picture. For 2 cents, less, I'd send to the mail order factory for a .32 caliber pistol. Then I'd shoot that crumb. They'd put me away. No more worries. Oh, it ain't worth it. And what jolly joy is tomorrow night. Harry Hartley takes me to the Paramount, and for one lousy show and a cheap chow mein feed, he wants I should play wife to him all night. Honest men. Honest, it's so stinking hot. Now I have to wash out some stuff for tomorrow. I hate to think about it. Oh, shut up. Those dumb dopes across the way, jabber jabber. New York Giants, Brooklyn Dodgers, they should all drop dead. And when I think of that lousy subway ride tomorrow, twice. Those bodies like sardines, the faces popping like roses, some pleasure. God, what I wouldn't do to get away from this. I'd even marry Harry Hartley, and if I do that, I know things are bad. Oh, go to Hollywood and be a star like Ava Gardner or them. Having the men fall all over themselves to kiss your hand. Go away, Clark, you bother me. Yeah, he should bother me. I'd crawl all over him. Oh, this lousy, stinking place. The girl hasn't no future here. What can I look forward to? No guy who likes me except that fat dope. Chow Mein Harry, I think I'll call him. Vacation in 2 weeks. 2 weeks of nothing. Go to Coney with Gladys. Sit on the damn beach and look at the garbage float on the water and go crazy watching kids neck themselves blind. Then I get all sunburned and maybe a fever even. And I go to a million movies. It's some life. I wish it was a couple of thousand years from now. That's what I wish. Then, no work. I live in a fancy spot and they have rocket ships and you can eat pills for a meal and free love. Would I go for that? The pills, of course. Like, fun. This isn't no time to be living. Wars, people yelling at each other, and what can a girl expect out of life? Oh, I've got to go wash my lousy underwear. June 10th, 3954. Dear Fectum, sometimes, yes, I became so ill of this cursed plastoid dwelling that I could be inclined toward regurgitation. What a dismal view. The spaceport across the highway all night, buzz, buzz, and those red shooting exhausts from the vents. Even taking the pills and rubbing narcoto lotion on my eyes and ears doesn't help. It is all quite sufficient to make me ill. It is all very foul. And that idiot neighbor with his ray machine, it infuriates me to know that he can see through the plastoid. Even when I put up my fiber screen, I feel him staring. Where does he get the purchase tickets for his invention materials? His job at the spaceport doesn't pay enough. I dare say he steals exchange tickets from the business office. For 2 minima tickets, I'd get myself an atomizer gun from the spaceport armory and decompose that damn lector. Then they'd put me away in the Venus pits and I'd be all set. No, it isn't worth it. I can't stand heat and I loathe sandstorms. And tomorrow night, oh, foul joy, Hendrik Halley takes me to the Space Theater, and for one wretched performance and a dull meal of fricasseed lunar bat, he expects me to undergo the risk of impregnation. Honestly, men. Oh, it's so dreadfully warm. And my fool electro washer has to be misaligned just when I need it. I'll have to fly down to the space-o-mat to wash my clothes, and I do so weary of night flying. Oh, there they go again, those fools across the way. Why don't they turn off their speakers? This damned local board has to know every word we say. There they go again. Martian Eagles, Lunar Red Sox. May they all succumb to a vacuum. And when I think of that miserable spaceship ride tomorrow, twice, that lumbering monstrosity, imagine, more than an hour to Mars, for heaven's sake. Oh, it's too much. What I wouldn't do to get away from it all. I'd even undergo a societal juncture with Hendrik Halley. Great galaxies, things can't be that advanced. Oh, to go to the theater capital and be a notable like Gelfig or someone like her, to have all the men swooning and begging you to fly with them to their country planets. I do loathe this shiny, spotless city. Ugh, this vile spot. What future has a young woman here? None. I have no man who appeals. Certainly not Lunar Bat Halley with his nasty little ship that has rusty seams. I wouldn't even trust that wreck on a hop to Europa. Vacationing in 2 weeks. Nothing to do. Dull trip to the moon resort, sitting by that god-awful pool and watching the young people pleasure themselves, and then I get that red dust in my nostrils and get a fever. And a million trips to the space theater. Oh, how pitiful. I wish it were the olden days, many thousands of years ago. Then a person could know what was what. There was so much to do, and men were men, and not the bald, toothless idiots they are now. I could do much as I pleased without the government checking my every step. This is no time to be alive. What can a young woman like myself expect in these times? Oh, curses, I must fly down to the space-o-mat and get my clothes done. XXX. Dear Slab, sometimes I get so sick of this damn cave I could... That was Dear Diary, a story that pages from Richard Matheson's fascination with time's unchanging human heart. At 27, Matheson was in Missouri, submitting to pulps like Fantasy and Science Fiction magazine, inspired by his mother's diaries that made him see patterns in relationships across generations. It lampoons his career. War's cycles extended to domestic life, his pulp roots maturing into critiques of constancy. Writing this in 1953, he drew from Victorian literature and his brother's pranks, aiming to show how folly repeats. Behind the scenes, Matheson submitted to magazines, reflecting his frustration with Hollywood's linear stories. It's a window into what drew him to horror, the fear that time's diary reveals our static flaws, a theme that deepened with civil rights struggles in the 1960s. Richard Matheson, the visionary behind Dear Diary, turned entries into an eternal loop of humanity. This story asks, has time changed us, or are we those same fools? Join us next time for Steel Shadows, Visions of Richard Matheson on SL Tonight, as we keep unearthing his enigmas. Good night.
Thank you, our guest host, Danny Stipe. And join us again on SL Tonight.
Hey,
Like
I sure
and
will.
subscribe,
Thanks.
and good night.